Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come spend some time with me in the kitchen today. We ain't done a cooking video in a while, so I thought it was about time. I've got some leftover fresh chicken from when we processed our chickens the other day. And well, we're going to turn it into a chicken pot pie. Now, I realize most of these videos y'all see floating around use a lot of canned ingredients. And well, of course, I'm going to be using a few canned ingredients, but they'll be my canned ingredients. So I feel like that makes it a little bit more special. So this is going to be a truly from scratch chicken pot pie. Now, y'all seen me make what else I call chicken pie in the past, where it's got the biscuit topping. Well, this time we're doing an actual pot pie. We're going to make some pie crust. I like to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes I do pie crust, sometimes I do the biscuit topping. Both ways are delicious, and it just changes it up a little bit. So, of course, we're going to go ahead and get started with our pie crust, because pie crust is a little easier to work if you go ahead and make it and then put it in the fridge and let it sit for a little bit. At least in my experience, anyway. Now, I'm going to be using a recipe out of this cookbook. I had a viewer send this to me a while back, and I must say, this is probably one of the most favorite cookbooks I think I've ever had. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I believe it was made, 1980. So, yeah, let's get started. So this is a recipe, pie crust recipe I'm using is from 1870 according to the book. Best pie crust I've ever made. So we're going to get started with 2½ cups of flour. So we're making enough, we're making enough to have a crust on the bottom and a crust on the top for this. And this pie crust right here, y'all, I'm telling you, it's so good that you could just about eat it by itself. Gonna do ½ teaspoon of salt. Now y'all know that I don't typically follow recipes exactly, but for this pie crust, let me just tell you, I always try to follow a recipe because I don't know about any of the rest of y'all, but pie crust is something I have really struggled with, like really through the years, and heck, I still ain't good at it now, so today's may not turn out, we'll just see. And a cup of lard. I love that the cookbook actually says lard and not shortening. But if you don't have lard, if you don't have homemade lard, if you've got Crisco or some kind of shortening, of course you can use something like that. So I'm gonna eyeball this, but I need a cup. Probably about right. We're going to work this lard in just like we were making biscuits, just until the dough gets really crumbly, and then we'll be ready for our next step. Poor old Andy. He's had to suffer through so many tough pie crusts through the years. He's always a trooper, though. He always tells me how good it is. But I'd say in the last year, now y'all, I've been trying to make pies for a while, and I would get it right sometimes. But finally, in like the last year, I have finally realized what kind of texture I'm looking for. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm serious. And it's one of those kind of things that it's hard for me to stand here and tell you what kind of texture you're looking for. I can tell you all day long, but until you get out there and you try it for yourself and you fail a few times, then you'll figure out what I'm talking about. It's about like that with anything, though. We gotta mess up a few times before we get good at something. And pie crust is no different. I enjoy making pies though, but I'm gonna tell y'all something now. I ain't above going to the store and buying frozen pie crust either, so don't take it that way. 'Cause you better bet your girl will use a frozen pie crust in a minute. I was just feeling froggy today, so homemade pie crust it is. Something about when the weather starts cooling off and it starts like getting kind of fall outside. I don't know. It makes me enjoy cooking a little more. Maybe it's because I'm not so hot outside, and so I don't mind being in here in the hot kitchen. Well, it gets hot while the stove's going. I don't know. There we go. We got a nice texture there. Really nice. Now, this is the part that's crazy to me about this recipe. I'm going to break out my handy dandy measuring cup and we're going to crack open an egg. We're going to add in a tablespoon of white vinegar. We're going to add enough water for the liquid to equal 1 cup. I just think that's so crazy how that's measured. I've never seen anything measured quite like that, but it works, I promise. Now, we need enough of this liquid here in our dry mixture to make our dough start sticking together. And according to the recipe, it says around 4 tablespoons. In my experience, it's a little bit more than that, but I'll start off with the 4. This is the part where pie crust always gets me. Because you don't want to overwork it. You want it to be kind of crumbly because that's what makes it kind of flaky. And every one of y'all may be out there laughing at me right now. But surely there's one other person out there in this world that also struggles with pie crust. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip this out because it's going to make it a little easier on me to see if this is going to stick together. And I'm actually going to make it into 2 balls. Look at that. It's a little bit dry. Alright, there's 1 ball of crust. See if I can make another one. Look at that. Perfect. So now, we're going to wrap these up. And I'm going to set these in the fridge for, it'll probably be an hour and a half, 2 hours before I really get started on supper. So, we'll let those sit till then. Now, I've got all this liquid left. You barely use any of the liquid. So, what I'm going to do, so we don't waste all of that anyway, is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make another batch with my flour and lard. And what you can do is you can wrap it up like this. I would do it a little thicker than this. and stick it in a freezer bag, and it freezes wonderfully. And then it'll be ready, and you won't have to worry about making your pie crust. If you want chicken pot pie with some kind of pie for dessert, you can absolutely do that too. But we've got pumpkin pie. I made a pumpkin pie a couple days ago with a frozen pie crust. And that's why I don't have any. But, so we'll probably have chicken pot pie with pumpkin pie for dessert. You might as well go ahead and make your pie crust while everything's already dirty. You already got your mixture going. And that right there really don't take up that much room. And that'll help you have an easy, delicious meal on a night that you might be just in a little bit of a hurry. Before we get supper started, I've got a couple of things I need to do. I need to run down and go move my cows over to the next pasture, and I need to check on the egg chickens. Y'all ready? Come on, Belle. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Come on, candy girl. Good job. Good job. Hey, good job. Yes. 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 Come on. Good job. Come on, Belle. Go. Go, Belly Boo. Just one today. That's all we got. Bill gets so excited when they move. Are you excited, honey? She always cracks me up. She gets so excited. You would think they've never been in this pasture. Every time. It never gets old. Yes, Betty Boo, I see you. What are they doing, Tiger? What are they doing? Eggs are really dropping with the shorter days, cooler nights. Everybody decided they're gonna molt at the same time. So it usually happens. These chickens are probably close to 3 years old if they're not already 3 years old. So that is to be expected. And I know somebody's gonna suggest that I put in a heat lamp, put red pepper in their food. All those things may work. That's all well and good and there's nothing wrong with it. But I choose to let them have their fall, winter break if that's how God made them. So yeah, we suffer a little bit for eggs. Ain't nothing we can't handle. Plenty of neighbors around here got chickens we can get the eggs from if we run out. There they go again. One thing them jerseys don't lack is personality. Are you coming back? Hello. Hello, my sweet babies. Hello. Hello. Oh, hey, Betty Boo. Oh, yeah. Hello. You all out of breath now? Got your exercise for today? Hey, Candy Boo. Y'all got your exercise in? Candy said no, she's going that way. Now, I gotta go get supper started. All right, so now that I've got all that done, I gotta run down to my grocery store and grab one thing, and we're gonna get this chicken pie started. All right, let's see. I won't need but a couple of cups. Let's just do that. Grab me a pint of chicken broth. So to get started with our pie, we're gonna want to heat up a big old hunk of butter. Check out my cute little butter crock that Sandra over at Sheraton Park Farms gifted me. I just love it. And if you don't know who that is, be sure to check out our good friends over at Sheraton Park Farms. If you like the stuff that we share here, I know you're going to love their content as well. So let me heat those up. And I'm going to cut up just a couple of carrots here. These are garden fresh carrots that you saw us harvest here a while back. Carrots keep excellent in the fridge. So we want to get these sauteed for our chicken pie. I kept out the bigger ones back when we did all that instead of canning them, because me and Jacob like to snack on them. Our carrots for the fall ain't hitting on too much. We usually have better spring carrots anyway. But every fall, we always try. But you can hear they're still crunchy. We're going to throw those in our butter there. We're going to let them cook for just a little bit. While they're cooking, I'm going to grab me a few cloves of garlic here. And if you're new around here and you don't know, we grow around 80% of our own food, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So everything you're seeing me use here in this chicken pie recipe, besides the flour, of course, was grown right here on our place. And, you know, it's not somewhere we got overnight. I know a lot of people that say, that's my goal, that's my goal. And it used to be my goal, believe it or not. It's not something we did just all at one time. We slowly built on it through the years until we got to where we are now. And it's a lot of hard work, but I'm going to tell you what, it's a whole lot of satisfaction too. And don't forget, a whole lot of good food. And now, everything you see me do for my chicken pie, you add what you like, what you and your family like. That's the beautiful thing about cooking at home. Do it to your taste. Just like if you don't care much for garlic, don't put this much garlic in there. I really like garlic. Keep the vampires away. And I love the taste of garlic. So a lot of times I put it pretty heavy in some of the stuff that I cook. But you want to impress people, man, I'm going to tell you. Homemade chicken pot pie, if you got time to do it, now that's the way. And I'm going to let my carrots cook till they start getting soft. Once they start getting a little soft, then I'll throw them a little bit of garlic in there. One thing I don't want is hard carrots in my chicken pie. Alright, my carrots are pretty soft. I'm going to throw in my garlic. I'll let that cook just a little bit. So the next thing that I'm working on is getting the chicken ready to go in for our chicken pie. Now this is a leftover fresh chicken that I cooked a few nights ago, and it always makes me think. I'm always so thankful for these whole chickens, and I think people nowadays are pretty intimidated by them. I've come to find out back when I used to sell chicken a few years ago now, people were intimidated by the whole chickens because, well, now you can buy chicken breasts, chicken legs, chicken tenders, whatever you want. But if you want to get the most bang for your buck, literally, the whole chicken is the way to go. Depending on the size of the chicken, you can stretch it sometimes up to 3 meals. This will be meal number 2 off of this one. But you know, I think that's something a lot of people really don't utilize much anymore. Just like leftovers. You know, back in the day, people didn't waste anything. They made food. Well, a lot of people didn't have any money. And, you know, they had to depend on themselves and their neighbors, and they made food and anything else stretch just as absolutely far as you could stretch it. And I think that's a trait that really needs to come back. That's something I really try to do. I try to utilize leftovers. I know in a lot of the videos you'll hear me say, we're eating leftovers tonight. Well, I do. I try to use those leftovers. I try to cook a little extra to make it easier on myself so we do have leftovers. We really could learn so much if we would just open our eyes and pay attention. Now I'm ready to make my roux. The roux is just like what you make when you're making gravy. We may need a little more butter. Let me put a little more butter in there. Because we want that nice, thick chicken gravy that's inside of chicken pies. That's what we want. Man, y'all, this is already smelling so good. I'm going to add in some chicken broth now. You see that texture of that? That would freak a lot of people out, but that's what you're looking for. That's when you know. That's when you know you got good broth, when it looks like that. So I just added in that whole pint. And we're going to let that kind of thicken up a little bit. Don't waste your chicken bones. That's something else you can get out of a whole chicken. You can get the best chicken broth. Like, you won't buy chicken broth anymore if you go to making your own. So you'll save money, number one. But the most important part is, golly, it tastes so much better. Homemade chicken broth compared to that watered down stuff at the store, I mean, really, there ain't no comparison. Now, you could shred this or ever how you want to do it. I'm just cutting it up into chunks. That's just personal preference. Y'all hear me say that a lot, personal preference. But, you know, leftovers, if you're trying to use all your leftovers, you really do get pretty creative. I mean, I know chicken pie is not exactly creative, but I've made some creative things through the years from leftovers that actually turn out really good. So don't be scared of them. Don't be scared of your leftovers. I mean, of course, they've been sitting in your refrigerator for like 3 weeks. Don't eat them, of course. But use them before then. Alright, now I need to pour in a little milk, maybe about a cup. Y'all, we didn't catch processing our chickens on video. You want about a couple of cups of chicken, but we didn't catch it on video. We were just enjoying the moment. We were contemplating if we were going to video that day. But the kids, man, they jumped out of the bed. They were ready to help. They did help so much. Like, we would have never got it done. We pieced out, well, we had 25 chickens, or 24, I can't remember now. And we pieced out all of them, but I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 of them. Now, you talking about work. That right there. But I'm slow at it. You know, you're slow at stuff if you don't do it all the time. And I'm pretty slow at piecing out the chickens. But we got it. I mean, we got it done, though. Look at that right there. Golly, that looks good. I could about eat it like that. But the kids, man, we couldn't have done it without them. They stepped in and they helped. We actually got all the chickens processed and in the cooler in an hour and a half. I didn't have enough green peas this spring to can any, so I just froze them a little bit at a time. Now, if you wouldn't look at that right there, boy, oh boy. I'm going to throw in some salt. And some black pepper. Now, I don't want that to discourage you. I don't want you to hear this and be like, Megan can do 25 chickens in an hour and a half. Listen, we've been processing chickens since 2019. Me and Andy were actually talking about this the other night. The first batch of chickens we processed, I think there were 20. It was me and Andy and some friends and family and in-laws and outlaws and everybody in between up here to help us process these 20 chickens. It was a big thing, you know. We had the big chicken plucker that you can rent from the county here, the whole 9 yards. Listen to me. When I tell you it took us all day, sun up to after sundown, to do them chickens. At that point, I was almost ready to give up. I was like, this is for the birds. How do people do this? It's one of those things, though. Practice makes perfect. Each time we did it, we got a little faster, a little faster, and a little faster. And now we're to the point, like I said, hour and a half, we had 25 done. Now, I know some people get them done a whole lot faster than that, but we ain't one of them. We went at a slow, steady pace. We had the radio jamming, you know. It was just a good time. So I'm going to let that simmer a little bit. While that's simmering, I'm going to go ahead and roll out my pie crust to put on the bottom here. So now we're going to take our beautiful pie filling and we're just going to pour it right on in there. So remember how I told y'all at the beginning of this video about me and pie crust, how we don't get along sometimes? I've made this pie crust now 3 or 4 times, and it has turned out perfect every time. I come to try to show y'all I'm struggling over here, okay? I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna cover it up, because, well, that's the truth. People think Megan can do all these things. Well, pie crust ain't one of these things, apparently. It said, nope, not gonna cooperate for a video today. Yep, and it's gonna fall apart on me, but guess what? It is A-okay. It ain't gotta be perfect to taste good, so y'all were seeing it. This is really how I do stuff in life. So alright, I'll just look at it this way. It has ready-made vent holes in my pie crust there. Just made a lovely mess over here. Also, what I do, and now this ain't what the recipe says to do, but this egg mixture we had from when we made the pie crust, I use that as my wash. And it works fine. So, that's what we're going to do. And this is going to be delicious, even if it is ugly. Y'all really going to like how this tastes here. Let's see, that's like we've talked about before. It ain't about the look of it, it's about the outcome. It's like we've talked about these gardens. Even though the garden is not perfect, it's still going to give us food, y'all. Even though this right here is probably the ugliest pie I have ever made yet, it's still going to be delicious. So we're going to stick this in a 400-degree oven until our pie crust is done. Boy, I made a good mess over here. You know, I was thinking about it. You know, back in the day, presentation, you know, especially of things like pies and things like that, you know, people use that for potlucks and say, you know, I don't know if you would call it good manners, but you tried to make your stuff look nice for your friends, for your family. I guess I'd just get kicked plumb on out the potluck. With the way that pie looks, maybe it'll look a little better after it gets brown. We'll see. I will conquer the pie crust eventually in my life. So, if only one person out there has issues with pie crust, I hope this helped you today, because I have issues with it too. Like I said, I've made it 4 or 5 times and done excellent with it. And I was so excited to show y'all. And the pie crust said, nope, not going to work today. But, you know, chicken pot pie, it's not just chicken pot pie. I share these kind of recipes in hopes, you know, it still connects us to our ancestors. Not just because of the fresh chicken, the garden fresh veggies, the homemade pie crust, etc., but because, y'all, this could be a very cheap, delicious meal that stretches and feeds several people. You know, we took a little bit of chicken, a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of milk, a little bit of flour, a little bit of butter, and we combined it all to make our delicious chicken pot pie. And I think we can learn from stuff like that. Like, I get in deep thought sometimes when I get, like, in here in the kitchen and get in my zone. And that's what I was thinking about. Like, you know, here we've stretched that chicken for the second time for a meal. And our ancestors would have done no different. And not just in Appalachia, you know, I think it's country people. I think anywhere in the country, the people that live in the rural areas, those people a long time ago, most of them didn't have much money. Most of them, at least around here, you know, they were poor. They lived in one-room cabins. It's just the way life was. They lived off the land. If you didn't grow it, you didn't eat. And if you didn't work, you didn't eat. And, well, it wouldn't hurt for us to go back to that in certain ways, is all I'm going to say about that. That'll get too deep for this chicken pot pie video. Anyways, we'll check on this in about 20 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, let's get it out and we're going to see what this looks like here. It got a little bit prettier. That don't look bad at all. Oh, I'm excited about this. I'm gonna put a little butter on that crust. Y'all check it out. Alright, so here is the chicken pot pie. I had a little fight with the crust, but I know it's because I was making a video, so.
Well, that's usually when the fights happen, ain't it?
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait though. It's going to be so good.
Well, it sure looks good.
Well, we shall see.
It's got peas and carrots in it too, don't it?
Yeah.
Is that from the leftover chicken the other night?
Yeah.
So it's got a fresh chicken in it?
Yeah.
Oh man, it is going to be good.
Look at that.
That looks really good.
It smells good.
Look at that crust. I like the crumbly crust on it.
Yeah, it gives it a whole different taste.
I got my brake line off my truck.
Well,
Gotta
good.
run and get me one. Y'all, we was on the last job this evening on my old red dually. My foot went to the floor when I hit the brake pedal. Front brake line busted. So, of course, I got to have, well, we made it home. Luckily, we was close to the house here. But, of course, I've got to have that truck tomorrow to pull my gooseneck so I can haul all the hay equipment over to the hay field. So, I got to get it fixed tonight.
That's how it goes. But, yeah, that don't look too bad.
That looks really good.
It's a meal all in one.
I can't wait to dig in. Well, it's hot, ain't it?
Yeah, I'm going to try me a little bite though.
Well, if I can, I will.
See if it's
Thing's hot.
satisfactory. Mm. Mm. Even if it is ugly, it's still good, ain't it?
Oh, it's perfect. That's good.
But anyways, guys, I guess that's going to about wrap up today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope you might have learned a little something. Until we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.